Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well today. This is Daniel 9. This is the ninth installment of the Exile Challenge. I'm kind of curious, what did you think about Daniel 9? What did the Lord teach you? What did the Lord teach you about himself in Daniel 9? What did the Lord teach you about yourself? Maybe things that you need to do differently in your own life. Maybe some things that you need to confess, that you need to get right with the Lord. I don't know. So what did the Lord teach you? I'm real curious. Go to the Driven webpage, make a comment there underneath the video, and just share. I'd love to hear from you. Share with me some devotional thoughts you may have. Any questions you might have about, it could be Daniel 9, it could be Book of Daniel, could be any question you might have about the Bible. I'd love to hear those questions. And any prayer requests you have, and go on there, share a prayer request with me. I'd love to pray for you in greater detail or more specifically. So go on there, check that out, and put a comment down. Well, Daniel 9, oftentimes people will go to Daniel 9, 24 to 27. We'll go right to that prophecy about the 70 weeks of Daniel. And I'm not going to do that. That's not where my devotional thought has come from. It actually came from the first part of Daniel 9. Here. I mean, if you'd like to know a little bit more about Daniel 9, I encourage you to go and do research yourself. But I'd be happy to do a little video on Daniel 9, 24 to 27, because Daniel 9, 24 to 27 is like the key Bible prophecy passage that you need to get in your mind, you need to understand so that you can better understand passages like Matthew 24, Matthew 25, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, the book of Revelation, and a few other passages as well. And so that is a key passage about Bible prophecy right there that you need to understand the best you can, the best we can. Well, Daniel chapter 9, verses 1 to 19. Here's my devotional thought, and just the example of Daniel. What an amazing man of God. I mean, we see Daniel in Daniel chapter 1. He's 13, 14, 15 years old when he's taken into captivity. And he just demonstrates to be a man of integrity. A man of integrity, even at a young age. So don't ever get into your mind that, you know what, I'm a teen, I don't need to be serious about my walk with Christ. That is just absolutely bogus. It's a lie from Satan himself. We see this young man is just a man of integrity at such a young age, loves the Lord, wants to do what he wants. And follow that example, and we see this example flow all the way through the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 2 shows great faith in his prayer. In Daniel 3, though he's not there, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, he was an influencer in their lives. Daniel 4, he confronts the king in relation to this dream. Daniel 5, he has another confrontation with a different king. And Daniel 6, man, Daniel in the lion's den, incredible story of faith and consistency and character and his walk with the Lord. And then we come here to Daniel 9, and we have this example of Daniel in prayer. And the first thing I noticed here is just my devotional thought is that Daniel's prayer was in response to reading his word, reading God's word. So Daniel is demonstrating to us a consistency he has with his spiritual disciplines. Daniel was reading the book of Jeremiah, and in the reading of this book of Jeremiah, he understands this, that the 70 years of desolation is almost over for Israel. And so in response to that, the reading of his word, he prays. And man, some of the best prayers are those that are in response to the reading of his word. So one thing, Daniel encourages me that I need to be more consistent in my time in the word, not to gain any favor with God, but so that I might know my Lord better, and that I might know what he wants from me, and that I can analyze my own life. The second thing I notice here in his prayer, his confession of his sin and the sin of his people is as a response from the Word. So he confesses his sin because he's responding to God's Word. It just reminds me from the book of James, in James chapter 1, where it says, verse 23, "For if anyone is a hearer of the Word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks intently at his natural face in the mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away and at once forgets what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and perseveres, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing." And it just reminded me that here, as we read God's Word, we need to respond in our obedience, in confession of our sin. And the third thing that I noticed here in his prayer is not only did he respond to God's Word, not only did he confess his sin, but in the end of his prayer, he wants God to be glorified above all. He wants God to be glorified above all. What about you? And what about myself? Do I really want God to be glorified in everything? Do my prayers sound more selfish, self-centered, focused on me? Which is not wrong to pray for ourselves. But do we get angry when God might not answer our prayers the way we want them to be answered? Or do your prayers sound more like Jesus's? You remember that time in Gethsemane when he prays, "Lord, let this cup pass from me, but not my will, your will be done." Is that your desire, that God's will be done? Is that your desire, that God be glorified, not you? Man, I want that to be my desire. I really do. I really do. And I hope that that's your desire too when you go to the Lord in prayer, that God is glorified, that God is honored, and not me. Well, that's my devotional thought. Just encourage you to work at being more consistent in reading God's Word, allowing God's Word to cause you to respond in prayer, to confess your sin as a result of what you've reflected on in God's Word, that you read God's Word as a mirror to yourself, and you see yourself for what you really are, and then you confess that sin before Him, a holy and righteous God, to just restore fellowship again with Him, and then honor and have your desire and motivation that God be glorified, that His will be done, and not your own. Well, that's my devotional thought for Daniel chapter 9. Curious what you think. Well, guys, you guys have a wonderful weekend. We'll pick this back up again in Daniel chapter 10 on Monday. All right, God bless. Yeah, have a good day.